And we'll move right along. Next, we have a presentation by Ansaro in regards to the audit. And I assume that's you, Rita.
Yes, good
Okay.
morning.
Good morning. Thank you for joining us today. Appreciate your patience while we finished up an executive session. I'm going to turn the floor over to you.
Okay, thank you. So I'm Rita King. I'm an audit supervisor with Insero and Company. The partner, Dwayne Schoen, is currently at a conference, so I'm filling in. I did 95% of the work on the IDA audit. So do you guys have copies of the report in front of you?
We do
Or would you
not.
like me to all right. Do I have the ability to share my screen? I do.
Kathy Joe's gonna join us.
Can you enlarge that? Or the box, the square box up next to the X? Yeah, perfect.
All right. Can everyone see this?
Yes.
All right. So we will start with the communication with those charged with governance at the conclusion of the audit. So at the beginning of the audit, you should have all received a very similar letter. We just have to report at the end stating what we found. So significant audit matters. During the year, the IDA did adopt and implement GASB statement number 96, which was subscription-based information technology arrangements. I am happy to report it had no material effect on the statements, unlike GASB statement number 87 that was adopted and implemented in 22 for leases. There were no other major changes during the year. We have no significant or sensitive estimates. Couple of our disclosures, significant. We have the leases. There's also another footnote, note 7, that I will point to in a little bit. I'm happy to report we had no difficulties really in performing the audit. Sal and Barb and the entire team was very forthcoming in giving us what we needed. There were no corrected or uncorrected misstatements. We had no disagreements with management. Sal had signed a letter stating that everything that pretty much was available was given to us and nothing was hidden from us. Excuse me. We did not consult with any other independent accountants. We had really no other issues. Then I'll just quickly jump to the management comment letter. There's nothing in this comment letter. It's just a boilerplate template, just defining what deficiencies and internal controls or material weaknesses are. We're happy to report that we did not find any of these during the audit. That also does not mean that they don't exist. We just didn't identify them. Then moving on to the actual financial report. Our independent auditors report. So what everyone wants to know, the IDA has a clean opinion, or unmodified, best opinion that you can get. This emphasis of a matter paragraph relates to, we had a restatement during the year, really for last year for the 2022 balances related to receivables and pilot payments, or pilot projects, in particular, the Norwich Farm, Puckett Solar, and High Bridge Wind. It was about just roughly $2 million that we had to restate the 2022 numbers for. But with that, our opinion is not modified. So we will look at that footnote. The rest is just boilerplate. If you were to read any part of this report, if you're not going to read the whole report, the management discussion and analysis is really what captures all of it. It goes through and explains, and it has comparative years, so you can see this year's numbers versus the prior year numbers and reasons for changes. But for right now, we're just going to kind of skip through it, kind of look at your regular balance sheet, statement of net position. So your total assets did increase approximately $189,000 this year, and that's really due to some increases in cash, but largely due to the, excuse me, the increase in lease receivables during the year as compared to prior year because you entered into new ones. Your total liabilities increased like 27,000, and that's really just due to the timing of when you physically received invoices and the timing of physically paying them compared to prior years. On your statement of revenues and expenses, so your total revenues, which is your operating revenues and non-operating, they did decrease about $2 million, and that is due to that restatement. Due to a decrease in project fees as a result of the restatement during the year. Your total expenses, I mean, they only decreased about 47,000, so relatively the same. I mean, there were decreases in insurance, other project fees, some administrative fees, which so your change in that position was, you had a positive change because your revenue was greater than your expenses of approximately $153,000, which is good. And then your cash flows, this just shows where you physically spent and received your money. So you received $470,000 from rents and just different fees during the year, and your contractual expenses, you paid out about $164,000. And then, so is there any questions on those statements before I get to the footnotes? Okay. So note 1 does not change from the prior year. Goes over the accounting policies, the financial reporting entity. The only new thing is the change was this new accounting standard. So as I mentioned, the agency adopted GASB 96 during the year. There was no material effect. The new and upcoming accounting standard is GASB statement number 101, compensated absences. That will be in effect for the year ending December 31st, 2024. Really, that is just taking and redoing how comp time, your PTO, vacation time, is actually accounted for. If they're short term, it has to now be accounted for. We will work with the team to make sure we're ready for that as it comes up. Your cash, note 3 is your receivable, which we had said it was a significant disclosure related to the leases because it's now on the statements, face of the statements. So you have a lease receivable of $74,000 at the end of 2023. Note 4 is just your capital assets. They don't really change much. Note 5 is related to all your pilots. Note 6 is just the related party disclosure for Development Chenango, Commerce Chenango, and the IDA, because they all intermingle. But the biggest change in footnotes is this note 7 for the restatement, as we had mentioned. So the correction was over $2 million that we had to restate the 2022 balances for, and then run it through this year.
So that's probably the only real, if anybody would pay close attention, they would see a change in the general accounting principles, which means that they have to account for income differently. It's if you have a reasonable intention to be able to collect that, then you have to recognize that revenue when you know you do. So
essentially, if we have a 20-year pilot that we're getting annual administrative fees on, we're accounting for all 20 years of that now.
Then she amortizes that against the 20 years, right?
Yes, and I will say multiple IDAs, when we really went back and looked into it, there were a couple of our other IDAs and others across the state who also have this similar restatement because of that change.
And Thank you.
You're welcome. And then you just have your scheduled projects that for all your pilots that you have, and then another, just our independent auditors report on internal controls in accordance with government auditing standards that states we have no concerns. And again, it's an unmodified opinion. Are there any questions?
No.
Thanks,
Okay,
Rita.
thanks, Rita. We appreciate
you.
your time.
Thank you very much.
You have a great day.
Thank you. Thank you.
So good job to everybody. That's a great audit. Keep in mind, that's an audit of our financials. It is not an audit of our policies and procedures of the IDA. It's just of our financial practices. But that's a great audit. So thank you, Kathy, Joe, Barb, Sam. Appreciate it. It's always nice to have an audit review that lasts 7 minutes. So thank
I'm
you.
about 18 months in on this job. This is a really well-run board. Things go well here. It operates well. Very, very few inefficiencies. A couple of hiccups here and there that we've had on our end, but this board runs very well.
All right, need a motion to approve the minutes of April 17th and April 24th, 2024. You'll notice on the special board meeting minutes, I just want to make note that there aren't a lot of notes to that because basically we roll called ourselves in, went into executive session, came out and ended the meeting. So need a motion to approve those minutes?
So moved.
Need a second?
Corey, second.
Any discussion, corrections, or omissions? Hearing none, we'll vote.
Corey, aye. Bullseye.
Raymond, aye.
Zero eye.
Woodford, aye.
Burton, aye. Financial report, Kathy Jo.
Okay, so page 1 of the statement of financial position, that's where I put in 2022, 2023, and current 2024. So you could see the accounts receivable adjustments from the auditors. And same with page 3 for the aged receivables. I showed how that changed from 2022, 2023, and 2024. And then if you go to page 5, for statement of activities, net revenue for April is negative about 5,400, but year-to-date is 13,000. And that is due to the interest income in Interfi.
So we're still making about 4,000 a month on that?
Yep.
A little over.
And we did get a reimbursement from Warner Gas on the everything bakery because they switched fuel companies. And so we got reimbursement for what was left over in the tank. And that's why there's the credit of $411 under Walnut Street maintenance.
Okay.
So that's pretty much it, the only changes.
Motion to accept the financials of April 30th.
So moved.
Need a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote.
Corey, aye. Bullseye.
Raymond, aye. Ryan, aye.
Woodford, aye.
Burton, aye. Bills and invoices. So on your agenda, you have one, which is our monthly payment to Commerce Chenango. But we did receive a second invoice that we'd like to approve today. That was for the Essential Home Inspection LLC for Steve, which we saw the presentation on earlier. It's $5,250, which is $5,250, not $52.50. So just, we're gonna add that to this, so we'll actually have 2 bills and invoices. Make sure that's captured in the minutes, please.
Yes.
So I need a motion to accept the bills and invoices.
So moved.
Need a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote.
Corey, aye. Bull's eye.
Raymond, aye. Ryan, aye.
Woodford, aye.
Burton. Executive Director report.
We did that, we're good.
Good. Payne Solar Project.
I texted Matthew Wells to come back on. I have not heard back from him. I'm not sure where he's at, but hopefully he will join. But we need to schedule the public hearings and send out the effective notices. So Bob's working with Dolores Nabinger and Phil Wade to try to get those together with the town and the village boards.
I saw those via email. Did everybody get those? There's 4 separate notifications because we have to have 4 separate public hearings.
Yeah, open, close, open, close,
Yeah.
open, close.
They can be held in succession of each other, so we don't have to go back 4 times. But we do have to hold 4 separate.
So that's really where we're at, and we're delayed there. I got a call from John Payne's attorneys the other day, just asking me some questions about the public hearing. He wants to be there. He's a local attorney, I know him a little bit, but again, I mean, I don't know what kind of objection there'll be about it. It's on a waste recovery site.
I had a long conversation with Phil Wade about a week ago. They're still running into issues with NICEAG
Yeah.
and how to get the power over to the plant. There's no easy way, not plant, what's it called?
Station.
Station,
Station.
yeah.
Substation.
Substation. There's no easy way to do it. And, you know, when you got one hurdle, then you gotta go across somebody else's property and they say no. So that's still a big roadblock in their plans. But Phil did have a lot of questions about really how pilots work. He's trying to learn how they work. You know, I mentioned some things like, you know, honestly, Phil, they don't have to come to us. You could give them a pilot. You have the right to do that. Things of that nature. So there will probably be more questions around stuff like that going forward with this project. So.
And I had a conversation with Phil about a week ago as well, and it does sound like the NICEAG issues
It's a big one.
is a big.
Yeah. Yeah. So. Okay.
Is it, because it's so far, what's the,
I think it's just logistics, the route, and
It's crossing a state
roadblocks.
route. It's, yeah,
There's
it's,
just, there's a lot of roadblocks.
okay, okay.
And
it sounds like they wanted to kind of go across the road and then almost along that railroad there, right?
That's, I think it was something along that line.
But you were
yes.
crossing so many different properties and it just, yeah, it sounds like it's a little bit of a nightmare. I mean, these guys are pros and they're having trouble figuring it out, you know, and they're doing this all over the country. So it's gotta be a big problem. While we're waiting for Matt, at the hotel pilot, you have in your packet the 3 pilots that,
The O'Reilly's principal design.
Yeah.
presented to
but,
us. We got these from Steve Harris.
Steve Harris put
Based
together
upon-
for us.
Based upon, first of all, the different pilots that he's seen out there. And the one that you see there's a 20-year pilot on there, which is the Madison County pilot for the hotel there. That hotel is valued at $2 million up there, which is exactly what these guys think this hotel is going to be valued at. So it's a pretty good comparison. If you go to the pages there where you see, it starts with the 10-year pilot, and then it goes to the 20-year pilot. 15, hold on,
I got 15.
and 2 10s.
Yeah.
We're missing a 20 in there.
Was there a 20? Because I did the 3
I'll go through
scenarios.
again to make sure. I thought we had a 20-year pilot for the one that was based upon.
Can you send those out?
No, I'm sorry. I apologize to you guys. It's a 15-year pilot. It's right there in the grade. It's from Madison County. I apologize. It's a 15-year pilot. I believe that the O'Reillys applied for a 20-year pilot.
Right, and we did talk about, so we did have the conversation that the first 5 years are the key for them. Keeping the tax abatement in the first 5 years as low as possible is going to be key. Do they have these numbers, Sam?
They've had these pilots put in front of them before, Brian. We've gone through this as part of the DCC process, owning that building over there, Brian.
I mean, we gotta stop holding this up.
Well, you're not holding anything up because they haven't completed the purchase agreement yet either, but we should move this forward. If we think this is a pilot, we should, again, Brian, the point is do we think these guys, they need a pilot, I believe, to make the finances work? Do we think this is a pilot that we can support? And then at what length does the IDA think they should support it? And so the 15-year pilot, to your point, right, they got a fixed rate of about $8,000 a year in taxes, which is less than what they had in their proposal. If you remember, they had put $13,000 per year in their original proposal, which is the current.
Well, it's a total tax liability of 19,000.
Versus the 13 that they're paying now.
Yeah. Whereas even
Yes.
if we did a 10-year, the first 5 years are all under 13. Well, the last one's 1335. But, and then if we did the 10-year, the first 5 years, the taxes are pretty high by year 4. Because it was an executive session, there's not minutes, and I can't completely remember.
What their request was, Brian?
Yeah, it was 20 years.
But can you
They
get
needed
a
to-
copy of what the O'Reillys, we have a copy of what their, we have a physical copy of the pilot that they presented. I'll find it, Brian. I have it.
So we need to see the 20-year, and we need to vote on this next time. Because we already have the pilot application. We just need to see the numbers for a 20-year. I don't think we can move forward with anything else at this point. And just verify what the max, I know it was 5 years, they needed to stay under a certain dollar amount. After the 5 years, they can start seeing an increase that would exceed that, but the first 5 years is key.
My recollection as well.
Yeah.
Or something similar.
Yeah. Okay,
I again forwarded their original application to all of you just now.
okay.
I'm doing it as we speak.
Norwich Pharma, do we need to make a motion to set a public hearing date on that? Is that where we're at with that?
With the Norwich Pharma? Yes, we need to move forward with that. We need to approve that.
I need a motion to approve setting a public hearing for Norwich Pharma lease transfer.
So moved.
Need a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Or, wait, sorry.
Corey.
Mixing up my boards.
Bull, aye.
Corey. Raymond, aye.
Ryan, I.
Woodford, aye.
Bert and I, sorry about that, guys and girls, appreciate it. Railroad lease,
All we need to do is approval to continue moving forward, which you did in the executive session, so we have that covered. We're moving forward with that. At least I don't know if we do that in public or not.
I think we should make a motion to move forward with having the attorneys develop a lease for approval at our next meeting.
I'll move that what he said.
Yeah, and I'll second.
Okay, any
Moving
discussion?
on with that.
Hearing none, we'll vote.
Corey, aye.
Bull, aye.
Raymond,
Ryan, I.
Woodford, aye.
Bert and I.
I'll be right out. I'll tell John, thank you. The next one is, we got a notification from New York State asking us about.
Sorry. I also want to approve the conflict waiver.
Oh,
For the
I'm sorry,
railroad.
I apologize, Brian, I forgot that.
That's okay.
I'm so
I need a
sorry.
motion to approve the conflict waiver for our attorneys who actually represents both entities.
So
So
moved.
moved.
Okay, I got a first by RC, second by Martha. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote.
Corey, aye.
Bull, aye.
Raymond,
Ryan, I.
Woodford, aye.
Bert and I, that carries. Okay. All right, go ahead.
All
Sam,
this
sorry.
is, we got an inquiry from the state about some funds that we used to do this rehab, $20,000. We need a signature from Brian saying that Kathy Joe has verified that all that money was spent. We have the date that the last withdrawal was done for this. There's just nothing on record for the New York State, their own record saying, was it completed? We just need something from this group signed by Brian that says it was.
Make a motion to sign the closeout of the railroad project.
Move.
Need a second?
Corey seconds.
Corey seconds. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote.
Corey, aye.
Bull's eye.
Raymond,
Ryan, I.
Woodford, aye.
Bird aye.
We'll prepare the statement for you, Brian, but I think it's pretty, I think I can actually
That's
sign
fine.
it.
Just call me when you have it. I'll
One
sign
of us
over and
can-
sign.
Actually, if we pass this next resolution, which is a signature authority, I'll be able to sign it. Right now, we have no signatory authorities on record for the IDA, saying I or anybody else can sign it. So there's a signature authority that's that passed by today.
Okay, resolution 2024-7 states that it is resolved that the following shall have signature authority for Chenango IDA effective May 2024. The chairman shall have authority to sign all checks under 5,000. All checks greater than 5,000 are required to have a second signatory from either of the officers listed below. Executive Director Salvatore Testani, Chairman Brian Burton, Treasurer Mike Corey. Need a motion?
So move.
Need a second?
second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote.
Corey, aye.
Bull's eye.
Raymond, aye.
Ryan, I.
Woodford, aye.
Burton, aye. Oh, Burton abstained.
Yeah,
Forgot where our accounts are.
I think that was it, Brian. I just need you to be able to do that.
And then you'll
So
need
now
to sign this.
Okay.
For Barb.
We'll get that put together then, Brian, because you're the person, it's not a contract, right? So I can sign that thing. It's not a payment, it's a closeout. So we'll get that set saying this has been closed out and, blah, blah, blah.
That's fine.
That's it.
I don't think he's jumping on.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. I
At this point.
texted him. I don't know if there was any questions about it. And you know what? He said he had an offsite at 9:30. I don't know if he left for it, but in any instance, the next steps for Payne Solar is to file the public hearings. And that's what we need to
And it says here, send out tax effective notices,
do. Yeah, we'll do all that.
which we've met with some of them already.
Yeah, we've talked about
But
both.
we have to officially do it.
We will do that for sure.
Okay,
Schools and everybody else.
motion to adjourn.
So move.
Corey seconds.
Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote.
Bull's eye.
Raymond, aye.
Ryan, I.
Woodford, aye.
Burton, aye. Thank you very much, everyone. Appreciate you.
Sam, can you sign these two checks real quick?
Sure, Mark.
I know
Now
you
that I
got
have
yours.
signature authority,
But-
I will.
Yeah.
Thank you all for coming.
Thanks, everybody. Barb, did you shut off the?